The New Car by Ellis Vidler. The black Grand Cherokee gleamed in pristine glory. Bertie circled it, kicking the oversized tires, admiring its rugged good looks. He held the door for his blue tick-hound, then slid in behind the wheel. "This is the one, Blue. The turkey shoot is nearly upon us, and we must have this magnificent vehicle. We'll have room for the gear and Sam and that no-good hound Runner boy. Maybe a few more of our fellow sportsmen." He waved his hand towards the dog. "It's got everything, air conditioning, radio, the works. All we have to do is get Maeve Dean to buy it." A red-faced salesman hurried over to them, his coat tail flapping behind. Sir, you can't do that. You've got to get that dog out of here. That's a brand new vehicle." "Never mind, son. This is Blue. You just go tell Mr. Lumpkin that Bertie Gilchrist is here. He knows Blue." Bertie, his electrified white hair wafting in the air like a dandelion going to seed, bounced in the seat and turned the wheel until it locked in position. He shifted the leather knob of the gear shift and fingered the four-wheel drive button on the console. "Think of the creeks, Blue. We can drive right through. No bank too steep for us. No sirree." Bertie waited until his old friend Arnie Lumpkin stepped out of the Lumpkins' Big Country Wheels office with the salesman. Then he got out with Blue and waved. Arnie smiled and spoke to the salesman. "The fates are with us, Blue. Now we've got the salesman on our side." The rumpled old man and his blue tick-hound climbed back into the battered Buick and headed for his sister's house on Belmont. When Bertie pulled up to the curve, Blue leapt from the car and trotted the front door, pushing it open with his nose. Maeve Dean's voice carried to the sidewalk. "Dear God, it's that dog again. Rudy, bring him something to eat and get him off the furniture." She reached the door at the same time Bertie did. "Good afternoon, brother. Come in and get your dog off my sofa." "Why, hello, sister. Fine day, isn't it? Blue and I were out enjoying the sunshine and thought we'd drop in for tea." Bertie handed Rudy a straw hat and walking stick. "How are you, Rudy? Always a pleasure." Rudy gave him a skeptical look, mumbled, "Was fine," and disappeared down the hall. "Bertie, what are you up to?" Maeve Dean loomed over him, hands on her bony hips. "It's unlike you to pay social calls unless you need something." He made himself at home beside Blue on the uncomfortable Victorian love seat. "That's not true, Maeve Dean," he said, touching his heart to show how she wounded him. "Why, I paid you a compliment just the other day when I was at the Winns." "Sally Winns?" She glared at the dog draped over the end of the horsehair stuffed sofa and lowered herself into the matching lady's chair, which forced her to choose between sticking her stork-like legs straight out in front of her or having her feet flat and her knees poking up under her dress like sharp peaks. "You paid me a compliment?" "Yes, I told them you were a proud woman, above caring what people think." Rudy came in with the tea tray. She glanced at Maeve Dean and rolled her eyes, serving Blue a plate of Lorna Doones. Maeve Dean grimaced and poured half a cup and handed it to Bertie. He nodded his approval when she passed him the decanter, from which he filled the cup the rest of the way. "Now what were you saying about Sally Wynn?" "What don't I care if people say?" she said, balancing her cup on the knobs of her knees. "Only that some folks thought the Gilchrist might have fallen on hard times. What with that beat-up old car you drive and all." Bertie took an empty cup from the tray and held it out to her. "Is this for the dog, Bertie? I will not have you serving him from my Wedgwood. Now what's this about my car?" The empty cup wavered in front of her. Bertie remained silent. "Oh, all right. It's too late for either of you anyway." She poured the tea and, sighing, added milk and a lump of sugar. Bertie smiled and set the cup in front of Blue, who just finished his cookies. They were saying, having just bought some fancy new car, that it was unfortunate you weren't in a position to have a decent car anymore. "Well, I never! I've just been thinking about having something a little more modern." I can't believe she said that. "Never mind, sister. I told her you were too proud to care." He rubbed Blue's ear and finished his own afternoon tea. I had already decided it was time for a new car. You know I don't know much about them. What's a good car these days? The next afternoon, Bertie stood on the curb, smiling down at his long-legged sister. But I thought you wanted something economical. Blue was hanging over the back seat, completely blocking the rear view. Bertie stood on the sidewalk with an earnest smile on his face as he watched his sister trying to untangle her long legs and get out of the no-frills two-door compact. Why, it's so feeble you can't even keep up with the traffic, and none of my friends could fit in it either. She finally extricated herself and marched back into the house. Don't bring me one of these little foreign toys again. I want an American car with enough room to stretch my legs. Something that will go when you tell it. And no yellow. You'd think I was some teenager. Find something more sedate, like black, and air conditioning. You don't expect me to drive around with the windows down and my hair blowing all to pieces, do you? Bertie glanced at her slicked back in a bun hairdo. He didn't think there was much of a chance of its blowing under any circumstances. Right. American, black, air-conditioned, fast. Sister, cars aren't made like they used to be. This may be hard to find, and it will surely be expensive, being out of the ordinary. Are you sure you can afford it? Have you been listening to Sally Wynn? Of course I can afford the car I want. 2 days later, Bertie and Blue arrived in a black Corvette. Well, it's a lot better than the other one, Maeve Dean said from the sidewalk. Bertie held the door for her. Blue climbed into the tiny spare seat in the back, and Bertie got into the passenger side. Maeve Dean stretched her legs out in front of her and started the car. They took off in a whirlwind of dust and shrieking tires. Brother, I don't know what you're trying to do to me. This is a hot rod, and we're so low to the ground I might as well be sitting on the pavement. Surely there are still cars with back seats. Even that wretched dog is cramped in this thing. I'll try, Maeve Dean. Let's see. He ticked the list off his fingers. American, big, black, air-conditioned, up off the ground, something with pickup, room in back. Something fancy, Blue. She wants something fancy. No, I don't want something fancy. Just something practical. There must be a car like that somewhere in this town. I don't know. I'll keep looking, but it may take a few days. He and Blue got back in the Corvette. I don't know why I'm going to all this trouble when you won't even let me drive it if I find it. Now that's not true. Of course I'll let you drive it. I know you're making a real effort to find what I want. Bertie flashed her a sweet smile and drove off. He waited 3 days. Then he called her from Lumpkin's Big Country Wheels office. Sister, I found you a car, but I'm afraid I'm too late. There's a man just drove it, says he wants to buy it. It's the only one they got. Salesman says they don't have too many calls for big practical car with all the comforts. Too expensive for most folks. What? And it has everything I want? She didn't wait for an answer. You tell them I want it. Don't you let that other man get my car. I can't just snatch it out from under his nose, Maeve Dean. Well, I can. You just put that salesman on the line. I want that car. Bertie winked at Blue and passed the phone to the salesman. Yes, ma'am, Miss Gilchrist, the salesman said, giving Bertie a puzzled look. Bertie could hear Maeve Dean's voice. I want that car. No arguments, young man. You write up the papers, and I'll have my nephew bring a check from the bank right now. But, ma'am, you haven't even seen it. We have others. Don't you try to put me off. You sell that man one of your other cars. I want that black one. Bertie looked back at the salesman as he and Blue climbed back into the Grand Cherokee. The man shrugged. Yes, ma'am. It's yours.